7-year-old girl in India felt itching and irritation in her right eye, but could scarcely have dreamed of the cause. Her eye was reddish for a week. Teachers put eye drop for 2 days. We thought it was alright, but her friends told that worm was grazing inside her eye. We thought it to be a thread. Then we confirmed it as a worm. Then we went to the hospital. Her mother said. Though the eyes are not usually the most commonly infected organs, eye worms are certainly not unheard of. Doctors at Arvind Eye Hospital examined her. They immediately took her for slit lamp microscope, and after seeing result they were surprised. Doctor injected intracameral xylocaine anesthesia in her eye, due to which rapid movement of worm stopped instantly. Then doctors took out the worm from her eye. After removing worm, they take out the coat of the worm using forceps. Doctors think that worm enters through blood vessel into posterior chamber and crossing it coming to anterior chamber through the pupil area. Hendrik Helmer of Darwin, Australia will probably be sleeping with earplugs from now on after he woke up at 2:30 a.m. with a cockroach in his ear canal. Feeling a considerable amount of pain but not knowing exactly what it was that was inside his ear, he suspected it was a small insect. Helmer grabbed a vacuum cleaner and tried to suck the bug out of his ear. This seemed to make the roach angrier, and the pain in his ear got worse. Later on, when I stood up and it happened, it would sort of hunch me over and drop me down to the ground, Helmer told 105.7 ABC Darwin radio station. I was hoping it wasn't a poisonous spider. I was hoping it didn't bite me. Helmer wound up at Royal Darwin Hospital, where doctors first tried pouring olive oil down his ear canal. That only caused the cockroach to burrow deeper into Helmer's ear. Doctors then used forceps to finally extract what turned out to be a 2 cm roach from Helmer's ear. Rosemary Alvarez of Phoenix thought she had a brain tumor. With symptoms ranging from blurred vision to numbness in her limbs, she went to the ER twice and had a CT scan, but the results always came up clear. Concerned, she finally convinced a neurosurgeon to do an MRI. When he looked at the results, he had Alvarez rushed into surgery right away. Doctor discovered something even more unsightly, a parasitic worm eating her brain. Even more distasteful, doctors said, someone, somewhere, had served her food that was tainted with the feces of a person infected with the pork tapeworm parasite. It wasn't that she had poor hygiene, she was just a victim. Zhang Nan, from Hubei province, China, was bathing with some live eels to cleanse his skin. His thought was that bathing with the eels would make him look 10 years younger. Our guess is that when one of them made a beeline for his pee line, it probably just shaved a decade off his life instead. I climbed into the bath and I could feel the eels nibbling my body. But then suddenly I felt a severe pain and realized a small eel had gone into the end of my penis, he said. I tried to hold it and take it out, but the eel was too slippery to be held and it disappeared up my penis. For his vanity, Zhang was rewarded with 3 hours of surgery to remove the slippery little guy from his bladder. Sadly, the eel died before doctors could reach it. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. In fact, the old fish in the penis story is one of the most famous urban legends of all time. Oh, and this photo? Yeah, that's the actual one that they retrieved from Mr. Nan. Halloween week is traditionally a time for creepy tales, but pop star Katie Malua has a real-life horror story to top the lot. The 30-year-old had been bugged by a scratching noise, and when she went to the doctors to get it checked out, she discovered to her shock that it was caused by a spider living inside her ear. Even more alarmingly, it had been there for a week. Katie revealed her close encounter with the arachnid on her Instagram account, complete with pictures. She believes the creature had previously been living in a pair of earbud headphones she recently used. Once the doctor had removed the creature with a suction device, Ms. Malua posted pictures of the unnerving find on Instagram. She wrote alongside the picture, "Basically I used these old in-ear monitors to block out sound on a flight. A little spider must have been in them and crawled inside my ear and stayed there for the week." A 12-year-old boy underwent surgery to remove a swallowed fish in central India's Kargil district. Anu Barela was playing a common game amongst his young peers in a local river where the object of the game was to try and catch live fish and swallow them whole. This isn't normally an issue, however Anu somehow managed to actually inhale the 9-centimeter fish, placing the fish in his lungs rather than his stomach. The young boy quickly realized that he was having trouble breathing and was rushed to a nearby hospital. The small fish had caused a massive lung obstruction, thereby resulting in a rapid decline in blood oxygen levels, causing the doctors to operate immediately on the struggling boy. According to Dr. Pramod Jawar, the operation lasted a total of 45 minutes while they removed the fish from the lung. The doctor also stated that the fish was alive and taking its last breath when the bronchoscopy was done. Tapeworms are long parasitic creatures frequently found in human intestines, where they can live for up to an incredible 25 years. On average, tapeworms found in humans are several meters long, with the longest tapeworm ever found inside a human body measuring 25 meters long. BBC TV presenter Dr. Michael Mosley has infected himself with a number of parasites in an effort to understand how they affect the human body. He swallowed tapeworm cysts, stuck a leech on his arm, and tried to infest himself with lice, in a new BBC 4 documentary program. In this latest film, he swallows 3 tapeworm cysts which he obtained from infected cattle in Kenya. Several weeks later, he swallows a pill camera which travels into his gut and broadcasts live pictures to his iPad. He discovers 3 worms triplets attached to the lining of his intestine, about a meter in length. When I first saw the worms, I was in an Indian restaurant. I shouted out, "Bingo! There's a tapeworm in me." The other diners looked very surprised. I was delighted, but at the same time, it was rather horrible, said Dr. Michael Mosley. Another patient in India who reportedly went to the doctor complaining of persistent buzzing in his ear was diagnosed with oral myiasis, a condition caused by fly larvae infesting in a person's ear or nose. Dr. Vikram, the attending doctor, proceeded to remove hundreds of live maggots from his unidentified patient's ear. Vikram believes house flies likely invaded his patient's ear and laid eggs while he was sleeping. If anybody sleeps, a child, an old person, and you see any houseflies there, put some cloth on their face so they don't enter into the orifices and lay their eggs, Vikram told. Prevention is better. The condition could have turned deadly, as the maggots were feeding off the patient's flesh and could be seen moving around. Dr. Vikram recorded the procedure on camera. Sanj Bhagat's stomach was once so swollen he looked 9 months pregnant and could barely breathe. Living in the city of Nagpur, India, he said he'd felt self-conscious his whole life about his big belly. But one night in June 1999, his problem erupted into something much larger than cosmetic worry. An ambulance rushed the 36-year-old farmer to the hospital. Doctors thought he might have a giant tumor, so they decided to operate and remove the source of the bulge in his belly. Basically, the tumor was so big that it was pressing on his diaphragm, and that's why he was very breathless, said Dr. Ajay Mehta of Tata Memorial Hospital in Mumbai. Because of the sheer size of the tumor, it makes it difficult. We anticipated a lot of problems. Doctor said that he can usually spot a tumor just after he begins an operation. But while operating on him, Doctor saw something he had never encountered. As he cut deeper into his stomach, gallons of fluid spilled out, and then something extraordinary happened. To my surprise and horror, I could shake hands with somebody inside, he said. It was a bit shocking for me. Inside Bhagat's stomach was a strange, half-formed creature that had feet and hands that were very developed. Its fingernails were quite long. We were horrified. We were confused and amazed, Doctor said. A man was forced to undergo radical surgery to have a live fish removed from his intestine. Graphic footage shows the man from Londrina, Brazil, having an operation to remove a South American lungfish from his body. In the horrific clip, A surgeon pulls out the eel-like fish, known to grow up to a length of 125 centimeters, which had apparently burrowed into the man's body. It can be seen being taken from his abdomen and wrapped in a cloth. Miraculously, the fish was still very much alive when it was removed, and can be seen wriggling around. One report suggests it was 2 feet long, although this has not been verified. The creature later had to be euthanized, according to the Brazilian news website. A fir tree has been found growing inside a man's lung by surgeons who were operating on him for suspected cancer. The tree, measuring 5 centimeters, was discovered by Russian doctors when they opened up Artyom Sidorkin to remove what they thought was a tumor. "We were 100% sure," said surgeon Vladimir Kamashev from Izhevsk in the Urals. "We did x-rays and found what looked exactly like a tumor. I had seen hundreds before, so we decided on surgery." Before removing the major part of the man's lung, the surgeon investigated the tissue taken in a biopsy. "I thought I was hallucinating," said Dr. Kamashev. "I asked my assistant to have a look. 'Come and see this, we've got a fir tree here.'